All right, what's up guys, how y'all doing? So you guys saw previously we threw the motor into the Zenki S14 that I own. So this is our 5.3 liter LM7 motor that we're utilizing the LOJ Z32 transmission swap. The whole swap is from LOJ. But yeah, so now that this is in, everything's tightened up, we did all our bolt markings, everything's good to go. Now I think it's time that we throw the turbo kit on. Pretty much that's like the biggest thing in the way, and then I gotta get the power steering, all that stuff. But the games have begun pretty much. So we removed all the tape off the head, cleaned out the ports. This is something new that I've had at TriggaSpec. We're gonna be releasing soon, but it's like a fan and it pretty much blows air. Very good to clean all these holes, make sure nothing's in there. You don't want anything to be in there. All right, that's done. So now we can go ahead and throw the TriggaSpec Turbo Kit on. Now this Turbo Kit I did release a long time ago, maybe almost like a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever. We built it when we 3D scanned the car and got everything in. Shout out to everybody that helped me. So we got these nice cast dual merge collectors. We got our Y piece that goes around, both headers, downpipes, and obviously our turbo that Max Speed and Rod sent us. Thank you. I do have a few other turbos, but I did promise them I was going to test it, so I guess we'll let the comp chill for the Z. Okay, so yeah, we have a ton of stuff obviously we have to throw on, but this is where we begun. I went ahead and heat wrapped it, and then I used safety wire to safety wire them. The time when I did this, the job could have been a little bit cleaner, but this will do. It works fine, it looks fine, and it stops it from coming off, because I'm not really a big fan of the zip ties, using zip ties and on headers and stuff like that. I did the same thing to the Supra when I did the downpipe, and this is what I mean. This job just looks much cleaner. Obviously more experience the more you do it, but yeah, so let's get moving all this stuff to the side yard so we can begin throwing it on the car and show you guys everything else for the kit. All right, so now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna connect our coil wires. So these are numbered 1, 3, 5, 7. Just and these are the MSD coils that I made, ceramic caps, so the turbo doesn't melt it away. Then we can just go ahead and tuck it away. Now, same thing for this side. We're gonna do alright, so now we gotta throw the manifold on. We can start with whatever side. Probably start with this side first. Alright, so those are on. Now we got new gaskets obviously, so this is the manifold side. This is down. Before installing it, just line it up with the holes, make sure everything looks good. I obviously know it's good. I tested this before on this kit. And then for hardware, I just got normal store hardware, 8.8, strong stuff. It's good. Thread checked everything, so now we can go ahead and throw this on. All right, so just like that, we got our headers on already. So yeah, this bolt and this bolt will give you the hardest time, but if you just thread these in, maybe 1 or 2 threads on this side and this side, it should give you enough play to be able to use the bolts to mount it to the head. Now I hand tighten everything with the little wrench, but I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it more. Now it says, I think factory 11 foot-pounds. Some of these you can't get to with a wrench, so we're just gonna tighten and then that's it. 3 ugas and it's good. So now we got our passenger side that we're gonna have to do same sort of concept. Put the gasket on with 2 bolts and then hand tighten them, then do the rest of the bolts. Each side uses 6 bolts in total. and we'll mount that up. Then when this is mounted, then obviously we can get through the cross pipe. Then we'll probably throw our ignition coils on. That way we can route the coil wires so they're not in our way. So yeah, step by step you kind of get it done, but this looks fabulous in here. What a nice sight to see. Alright, so now we're here, we have our elbow. As you guys can see, this is not able to line up because it's interfering with this. So the white section is going to be cut. We got our grinder. And yeah, so pretty much we're going to cut from the frame rail line all the way down like they have here from the old owner, and then down this way. And it should give us enough clearance. Depending on what size turbo you use, you might have to do more cutting. Alright, so we ended up getting the crossover cast piece in. I ended up actually cutting it a little bit more because the turbo we are using is bigger, but that's in. Now we can go ahead and begin installing the Y crossover. Alright, so we went ahead and got all the corners with paint. I don't know if I'm gonna do the same style to this side. I feel like no. This side makes sense because we have the huge turbo obviously. But we mounted this is loose. So I can move it around in order to be able to get the pretty much union or Y, whatever you want to call it, into it. Now this is pretty easy. Just gonna have to wiggle it through here. Clamp it onto our header right there. If you guys can see. And then from this side, go ahead and clamp it to the cast, and then it'll be finalized, so then we could throw the turbo on. This process might take a little bit just because you gotta play around with it. If you have your alternator removed, obviously it's easier. Alright, so I was playing around with it. Remove your alternator, make your life easier. I'm actually gonna go ahead and get a different alternator. I think this one might be toast. I need to test it, but yeah, so that's fine for now. But anyways, line up the headers. You want the flanges to be perfectly aligned with one another, so it's easy for the clamp to go on. Tighten the clamp, and then I went ahead and routed my coil wires to I made these outside the car just because it was easier to do. Everything looks good, no hard like kinks or nothing, lots of play and everything. And this side looks fine because we have room in the front here. But on this side, for the coil wires, I had to specifically pretty much make them to where they're very long and they go through the back right here of the transmission housing. Since there's nothing, there will be these heater like core lines right there, but that's fine. And yeah, they kind of just come down through looking like that, because when the turbo mounts here, there's going to be this gigantic down pipe that's going to be going through here. So if I had the coil wires hanging out over here, etc., this down pipe is just going to totally destroy the coil wires. And you guys, some of them might think it's funny looking, but no, these are heat shrinked and then heat sleeved, just because I was not trying to take any chances on having coil wires burn out due to down pipe, even though I'm going to wrap the down pipe as well. But yeah, turbo placement looks good. So we got our cast piece right here, and then you guys look in this hole right here. We have wastegate number 1, wastegate number 2. Wastegate number 2 is for driver's side. Wastegate number 1 is for passenger side header. We'll be installing those, and it has the dump tubes. Now, with those being installed, makes me wonder how we're gonna route our oil drain for the turbo. But yeah, I'll have to figure that one out, because the turbo is gonna be sitting like right here. But anyways, and then these guys too, I have to figure out these water heater core lines, because we have a heater bypass valve that goes to the core. I'm gonna at least try to keep heater in it. But yeah, this is pretty much how this mounts up for this kit. So if you guys wanted one for free or LS, all of this stuff I offer, so you guys can get it if you like. Anyways, now that's in, let's see if we can mount this turbo up. Alright, so we gotta start wrapping up. It's starting to get cold and it's gonna rain soon, but that was a good one. So yep, this is the TriggaSpec Turbo Kit. So you guys see right here, we got our turbo mounted to our T4 style dual divided piece, and then the downpipe I'm not gonna have time to throw on, but I wanted to kind of test this theory. Obviously it's not gonna work, that's just for thumbnail mock-up, but yeah, this is not gonna connect. But the downpipe, when it sits, pretty much goes through right here and then snugs all the way down, which if you guys know, it looks like this. When we made this on the car, we had a T56 trans, so obviously this fits with that. But if you do the Z32 swap, then maybe I'll have to get a custom downpipe. We'll see what we can do. This hood exit would be sick like this, but yeah, this is just not gonna work with the coils. Maybe if I flip them upside down, it might work. It's actually not a bad idea. But anyways, this is pretty much the stuff in the motor in the car. Big progress.